doors closing. Granville is next. Doors open on the left at Granville. Priority seat is intended for the elderly and passengers with disabilities. Your cooperation is requested.
I'm headed to my local friendly occult bookshop for their monthly tarot meetup. It's sort of a study group. Really excited and really nervous. I've never been before. I brought apples and oranges. Tiny apples and tiny oranges. Like really, the pink lady apples, the tiny ones that are so tiny, they're like smaller than a plum. The tiny apples and little halo tangerines. I get so nervous when I'm meeting new people. Wish me luck. It's about 4:30 in the morning here, and this is the first chance that I've gotten to make a video. Mr. Baby Man still wakes up in the middle of the night. And needs to be bounced back to sleep. That's really loud. So I bounce him back to sleep, and then we get to go back to sleep for another couple hours until he wakes up at 6. So yeah, today I went to a monthly tarot study group run by a local witching organization. I don't know what their deal is. I don't know if they are a coven or if they're some sort of like legion. I don't know. It's a Chicago witching group, and I hope this bouncing doesn't annoy anybody. Stop it. It was a tarot study group, and I was so nervous to go. And I did that whole thing like, oh my god, I have nothing to wear. Oh, am I dressing too flashy? Wait a minute, what do I wear? And I don't want to be too much of a dork. And then I realized I am a dork. I am a dork. So I grabbed a few of my tarot decks, threw them in my book bag. I went to the grocery store before I got on the train to go to the meetup, and I bought a bunch of tangerines, halo tangerines, they're like cuties, a bag of tangerines, and I bought a bag of pink lady apples. Pink lady apples are those tiny little apples. And, you know, sort of like a good luck charm. Not a good luck charm, but a goodwill gift to make friends, and I don't know. And I got there, and it was at my local occult bookstore. I got there, and you know, I instantly felt okay there. I felt welcomed, and I felt like I was in the right place. I don't know what I thought I was going to feel when I went there. I guess I thought I'd feel out of place. I thought I'd feel like I knew a lot less than anybody else. But what wound up happening was I kind of sat down and I felt like I'd been there for a while. The people there were inviting, they were friendly. The woman running the meetup was friendly. The guy who runs the shop was friendly. The shop was great, by the way. There's lots of herbs and smudge sticks and salts and trinkets, and I bought Florida water and incenses, and there's so many candles, and I picked up a citrine and a snowflake obsidian, and no wonder they host the thing there. No wonder that guy lets them host the thing there, because we all shop, and they've got so many tarot decks there for purchase. It's crazy. So it was great. We studied the tower, and didn't know why I took several decks of cards with me, but I'm glad that I did. I brought my Rider-Waite deck. I brought my Druidcraft deck. I brought my Pagan Cats tarot deck. And I brought my new Morgan Greer deck. And I took the tower out of all of them and compared them. And I never realized before how important it is to be able to compare and contrast the different, like any particular card, compare and contrast it with other decks and publications. Because the tower is a lot more vicious and brutal in some decks than it is in others. Like, the Morgan Greer just looks really ominous and looming, where the Rider-Waite, it looks like violence in the process. It's just so, what's the word I'm looking for? It just looks really, you guys, it's 4:30 in the morning. Well, the Pagan Cats has less to do with the tower itself and more to do with the falling person, the person falling from the tower. And in this case, it's a cat. It's a little cat, and it's having a hard time getting his feet underneath him. You know, he's falling, and he's terrified, and his body is twisted and contorted in a way that he's trying very hard to land on his feet. But the Druidcraft, it's a calmer scene. I mean, yeah, there's, you know, lightning and fire and the people falling, but there's also a landscape. You know, the tower is on a rocky shore, and in the distance there's this path that leads from the horizon across the landscape and up to the tower, you know, as if to say, how did you get here? can you get home after this? And, and we also talked about how the tower is a man-made construct. It's built by man, and in I'm guessing every representation of the tower, almost everyone anyway, it's being taken out by nature. Nature is taking out the tower. It's a card that depicts something that you've built or somebody's built for you. Something built by human hands and on a whim, in a storm. It can just be all wiped out. It talks about the impermanence of things and attachment, and it also talks about trusting nature to know what it's doing, to let them send their demolition crews, because demolition crews don't come by and knock over buildings all willy-nilly. There's always a reason. There's always something better in store, or another thing in store, you know. And never forget that when you do pull the tower, that, you know, it's scary for a lot of us who've been bitten before. But remember that tarot doesn't tell us what is absolutely going to come to pass. I mean, the tower could be a warning for you to change what you're doing. The tower could be acknowledging right now that you're going through a very difficult time. The tower could be for somebody else in your life. But don't deceive yourself. If you're pretty sure it's for you and you're not, you know, currently going through a tower moment, prepare yourself. But remember, once everything gets knocked over, the star is next. In the Fool's Journey, the next card is the star. The day spa is around the corner. Healing and rejuvenation is right there. I mean, if you never give up, then you'll never not get there. You will get there. My tower moment. And this is one thing that gets me about the tarot. This is one thing that steals my faith in what I'm doing, that it's a very useful tool and nobody can tell me different. I pull tarot cards for myself once a month, or several times a year at least. And you know what? I don't come across the tower. I don't. I come across other cards. I come across, like, the Empress. And I come across the Six of Cups. I come across the Page of Cups. I come across the Ace of Wands. I come across a whole bunch of different cards that pop up over and over. I'm familiar with them. These are cards that I could read with my eyes closed. I don't have to look at the card. Somebody says to me, you know, they'll say to me, Magician, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I know. And there are cards that I never see. Sorry, I'm sick. There are cards when I'm reading for somebody else and they come up. It just kind of reinforces that idea to me, like, I never see this card, I never see this card, and it just never shows up for me. And then you do a reading for somebody else and there's this card and you don't even know how to read it because you never look at it. Anyway, so the one time I got the tower, the most recent time I pulled the tower, I was not with my husband. We were friends. We've been together this year in June, it'll be 9 years. And this was just like 3 or 4 years ago. God, it must be 3 years ago. It must be about 3 years ago. I pulled it. I was a carpenter's apprentice. And my husband and I were separated at the time. We'd been separated for a couple of years. But we hadn't divorced yet. Go figure. I was with the guy that I was working for. But I was also with a boyfriend. And they knew about each other. And the situation was rocky. We were polyamorous. And I pulled the Tower card. And back then, about 3 years ago, I was not really... I kind of just let it ride. Whatever, it's Tower card. And long story short, shit blew up. Bad things happened with that guy. Bad things happened with my boyfriend. I wound up completely single. And I also wound up without a job or a way to pay for my rent. And my husband was sick and tired of his living situation and thought that as friends we could go in together on an apartment, and I would promise to look for a job and he would support me until I did. Because, hey, we're still married and we're still friends, so... And then we moved in with each other, and I got pregnant with my oldest. So, and before today, I didn't really ever make the connection between all that happening and becoming a mom. But all I saw was the stuff that was knocked over. I didn't see the stuff that had built up. And I'm so grateful for that tower. I'm very grateful for that tower. Because without it knocking that shit down, I would not have been able to have what I have today. And that's all I wanted to say. Good morning. And, wish me luck getting back to sleep.